Nobody's going to argue with the fact that the Carolina Panthers need to make some drastic changes on the offensive side of the ball to really get Bryce Young going, to get this team going in the right direction. After what we saw last year, they made a big splash in the draft in the second round when they drafted Jonathan Brooks, who many regarded, including me, as the top running back in the class. Now he's on the team. We got to look at how he fits. We're going to be looking at Dave Canales, what he said in the interview about Jonathan Brooks. We're going to look at how he fits with the team. We're going to look at how Canales likes to use the running backs. But first, before we dig into all this, you need to click that subscribe button because we're talking about these rookies every single day this offseason, player by player. You need to know what these rookies look like on your team. We're going to be covering rookie camp clips here soon. You're going to want to know what your rookies are doing behind the scenes. But first, Dave Canales, what does he have to say about Jonathan Brooks here?
What does Jonathan do? What's his skill set that you think really would fit well with you like to do in the run game?
Yeah, versatility. First and foremost, our system calls for a back that can be used, of course, just in a traditional way, hand it to him. Then how can we get this player in space, being able to get him in perimeter screens, check downs. We got a really cool empty package where we use the backs, flex them out to get matchups, things like that. He's a bigger back. He's got range. There's so much that he brings from a versatility standpoint. That's probably the biggest thing that stood out. And then just vision, patience, contact balance, acceleration. Like, he's got it all. He's the best back in this class, and we were so fired up to just be able to bring him in and create that competition that Dan talked about.
Anything in his visit or any games that jumped out at you, and did the injury give you any pause?
For sure. I think anytime you're dealing with an injury like that, we have to do our homework and we have to have the full workup and all that. And we had great help with that information to say, we feel like this is a guy who's on track, with this type of injury. And so, that part aside, I think, just looking at Jonathan, meeting with him in person, you feel the depth of character of this guy, a guy who's had to overcome. Here's a guy who went into Texas at 185 pounds as a running back, and worked his way into the guy that he is today, so a guy that's overcome the challenges of playing behind two really, really good players at Texas. He was able to tell that story, bring it to life, and really with the humility and respect for those guys that he was there. He's like, I learned so much from them, and it was whether it was the most genuine answer, it was a great answer, to just hear him say that, and to tell his story like I've talked about before. So putting all those things and then plus the ability, it's really cool to have him here.
He likes Jonathan Brooks the same way I like Jonathan Brooks. He's a very versatile running back prospect, catches the ball well out of the backfield. He's very slippery, but has the power at the point of contact to really drive it home. He's good after contact. He gives you everything. And when we look at what this team has on the offensive side of the ball at the running back position, it's not much. They got Miles Sanders, and it's the ghost of Miles Sanders, and the live body of Miles Sanders wasn't too great. They got to move on. They got to get better at the running back position. They got Chuba Hubbard, who's a good 1B back, but they want a true grinder who can catch the ball in the backfield, who has some upside. Jonathan Brooks has a ton of upside. They drafted him in the second round, but 216 pounds, a guy who's electric in space, who can catch the ball in the backfield, is something this team wants. And remember, Canales is from the Seattle Seahawks and had a sip of coffee with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as their offensive coordinator. But quality control, coaching wide receivers, coaching quarterbacks, passing game coordinator. He wants to throw the football. He wants to move the football through the air. He wants his hands on the quarterback. He wants his running back catching passes like we saw here in Tampa Bay. One of the faster paces offenses in the league, and also throwing the ball in a 60% clip. So we got a good run-pass ratio here to really be electric in this offense. And for Jonathan Brooks, we should expect him to catch passes out of the backfield because Rachaad White did last year. Once he figured out what he had in Rachaad White, he was getting targeted 6, 7 targets a game. Some games a little less, depending on game script. but still seeing a lot of opportunities in the passing game. Rachaad White had a 34% opportunity share. That is the share of targets and touches out of the backfield, and he owned it. He was a huge cog out of the backfield, and he's going to look for one guy to own the backfield. That's why he spent a second-round pick. That's why he drafted the top running back in the draft, because he wanted a running back to help jumpstart this offense. He needed a running back that can catch the ball in the backfield, but yet be electric between the tackles. That's what he's going to get out of Jonathan Brooks. Also, what he stated, he feels good about the ACL. He feels good that he's on the timeline of recovery, of him being able to produce sooner than later. That's what he said there. On top of that, expect him to gradually work in. Expect a rookie ramp up due to that. But 2025 should be all systems go. And the back half of the season, you should see him be used more. But Jonathan Brooks looks like a running back who's going to be owning a large portion of the snaps, the touches, and targets out of the backfield. And it looks like they want one running back to have most of the workload and be used everywhere, with a couple other jabroni running backs back there to siphon a little bit of the workload as a meat shield to keep that main running back upright. That's why they spent heavy draft capital on him. And prior to that, that's what he's used to having. On top of that, he's from Seattle. Guess who Seattle has? DK Metcalf. Who did they draft in the first round athletically compares to DK Metcalf? Xavier Legette. I'm not saying he compares to him. I'm saying when you put the numbers on a spreadsheet to each other, size adjusted athleticism, speed downfield on the spreadsheet, that's why he really wanted Xavier Legette. That's why they couldn't leave this draft without him, and they told him, we're going to make sure we get you. That's why. Because that's what he wants in his offense. He wants a wide receiver with that size to get downfield, to run those drag routes, to get yards after the catch. That's what he wants out of Xavier Legette. That's another clue to this offense. But we're going to see Jonathan Brooks used in the passing game heavy. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.